Well, hello everybody and welcome to Jeff's Baking Blog. Now, last time I was with you I did promise that I'd make some Christmas biscotti, and I actually made them, but unfortunately I forgot to turn on the microphone when I was doing the video, so I can't put that video online, but the recipe and photos are on the blog of the biscotti. But today I'm going to be making a chocolate and cherry cheesecake, and for that I have here 150 grams of chocolate biscuits, which I've ground so that they're quite fine. They're going to be part of the base, and they will go with 50 grams of melted butter. Then I have 500 grams of cream cheese, 100 grams of sour cream, 135 grams of caster sugar, 2 tablespoons of custard powder, or you can use corn flour, 3 eggs and 2 egg yolks, 200 grams of cherries. I'm using cherries that have been soaked in kirsch, and I've drained the kirsch off them, and then 3 tablespoons of a cherry syrup. Now the cherry syrup has come from a compote that I've made, so behind me here for something else I have cherry compote, and I've just taken 3 tablespoons of that juice to use as well. So the first thing we need to do is to make our base. Now I've got an 8-inch springform pan here which I've buttered, and I've put silver foil, tin foil around the outside, because we're going to stand it in a water bath to bake, and we don't want the water to seep up through the springform pan. So we start off with putting our crumbs into a bowl, and we simply pour in the melted butter. And we mix that together. Until all the crumbs are coated with butter. I've got a couple of larger lumps here which I'm just going to break up a little bit. I actually process these in a handheld processor, one of those ones that has a whisk attachment or a little bowl and a knife attachment. It did a reasonable job, but I see some rather larger lumps, but it won't matter particularly because they're all going to be pressed down into the base. So, having mixed our crumbs, what we want to do is to put them into our cake tin. And this is a 20 centimetre or 8-inch springform pan. Then spread them out and press them down. You can use the back of a spoon to start with. You want to try and get it as level as you can. You want to make it quite firm. And then we're going to put that in the fridge while we do everything else. What will happen is that the base will then firm up in the fridge as the butter solidifies again. And so then we can get on with the rest of it. So the first thing to do is to put our cream cheese into our mixer here. And then put the yogurt in as well. The sour cream as well. And then we'll just give that a quick mix. And then we'll add our sugar and the custard powder or corn flour. Then our 3 eggs and 2 egg yolks. And scrape down the sides so that we'll get the eggs mixed in with the cheese properly. And then we're going to pour in our syrup, and I have here 170 grams of dark chocolate, which I have melted in a bain-marie. That's putting the bowl over the saucepan of water. And I'm just going to test that. It's a little bit hot, but I'm going to pour the syrup in there. And stir that round. Which will actually make this slightly more liquid, and it will cool it down. And then we're going to pour it into the cream cheese mixture. And mix that round. We'll just stir that to make sure that we've got it all mixed in. That's all mixed in. We'll give it one more little blitz in the mixer. Okay. So now we're going to let this stand for about 20 to 30 minutes. That way it will let any air bubbles out, they can work their way out, and it will give time for the base in the fridge to firm up nicely. So I will come back after we've let this rest, and when I come back I will have heated my oven to 180 Celsius, 160 fan, 350 Fahrenheit. I will also have boiled some water, and we will pour this into our cake mix, having already put some cherries around the base. We'll put it in our tin, put it in the oven with some boiling water poured around it, and we'll bake it for 45 to 50 minutes. So I'll be back with you when this has had time to rest and let the air out. Right, so now I'm back. I've just boiled the kettle so that we've got hot water to put in the pan. And I'm going to pour the cherries in and spread them around the base. Try and get some on the outside rim if I can, and a few in the middle. That's fine. And then we'll take our batter and pour it over. That's about as much as I want. We'll just level that off. It should find its own level in the pan. Okay. So, the next thing to do is to put that into this pan. Now I've put a piece of paper toweling in there, and the reason for that is that I don't want this to slip around when I come to take it out of the oven, and so the paper towel, which will get wet with the water, will help that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on the rack, and then I'm going to pour boiling water or the boiled water around the outside, and I'm going to bake this, as I said, at 180 Celsius, that's 160 fan or 350 Fahrenheit. I'm going to bake it for 45 to 50 minutes until it seems to be set, but it's a little bit wobbly in the middle. Then I'm going to take it out of the oven, get rid of the water, run a spatula around the outside just so that it loosens it from the tin, and I'm going to put it back in the oven with the oven turned off and leave it in there with that extra bit of heat until it's completely cool. So I'll be back with you in about 45 to 50 minutes and we'll see what it looks like. Well, I'm back, and it's just about 46 minutes later, and I've taken it out of the oven, and it's got a very slight wobble to it, as you can see. And so what I'm going to do is, although it's coming away from the sides nicely, I'm just going to run this offset spatula around the edge. And the reason for this is that I'm going to put it back in the oven with the heat turned off, but the residual heat still there, of course. And it will set more with that heat. And as it cools down, if it's attached to the sides anywhere, then it's likely to start splitting, and we don't want it to split. So I'll put it back into the oven and leave the door ajar so that it will actually begin to firm up as it cools down, and then I'll leave it there until it's completely cool. Then I'll come back and we'll take the outside ring off and we'll have a look at it. Okay, so now I'm back with you again, and this has been in the oven. I left it in the oven after we turned the oven off for an hour, and then I decided I would take it out, and I'm going to let it cool down in the room until it's completely cool. Then I'm going to put it in the fridge to chill overnight. But I thought I would take it out of the springform pan. I've still left the base on for the time being because it's not completely cool, but I've taken it out of the pan just so that you can see that it's nicely set. I'm not going to cut into it because it's being delivered to be eaten at Christmas, but it does look quite nice. Now you could sprinkle some cocoa powder over the top and put some cherries or something on the top if you want, but I'm going to leave mine plain just like that, and then we'll have cherry compote on the side when we actually eat it, probably. So that's it for this bake. I'll be with you again after Christmas. In the meantime, happy baking.